welcome back to Bobtail videos and another episode of Rage Racing. So, me and my buddy here,
Beave92,
we were working on a Jeep. We learned real fast that Jeeps do not like northern climates.
I don't think anything with metal likes northern climates, because just saying. Take that for example. That's a 99. That's old Blackie. And as you can tell, the northern weather guy has gotten the best of her. But she's been a trooper.
So, we had to call it quits on this Jeep because it was either brake parts or brake tools. We ended up horseshoeing 2 wrenches and breaking a breaker bar.
And then also, the one bolt in the back end axle, okay, I have met stubborn bolts in my life, but these bolts, or at least that one bolt out of the 4 in the back end of that Jeep, they were a straight fucking nightmare, because when you have a bolt glowing red, as in, I had no idea that color red existed, and it still don't come out, something is definitely wrong.
On top of all that, not only did we have it glowing red, we had an easy out tool. That's when we horseshoed a couple of wrenches, and we ended up seizing the easy out tool into the broken bolt. Now, when you get an easy out tool seized into a broken bolt, after this broken bolt's been hollowed out, PB blaster used, and the brackets cherry red, that's a bad day. So I learned real quick, I don't like working on rusty Jeeps. It was only about 2001
maybe 2002.
Jeep Grand Cherokee, maybe 2002.
And then turn around, and while we was fighting the easy out kit with the red bolt, we had one of my favorite tools from Walmart, and
looks like we tore that up a little bit too.
Well, we tore the inside of the jaws, as you can see, trying to get that easy out kit to budge that bolt. Well, just when we figured this would do the job, considering I have gotten stubborn bolts out with this tool standing on it, and bolt comes right out. Now, there was a couple times I snapped a bolt, but little torch, easy drill out, easy out kit, popped right out. No problem. Then turn around and get on with the day. Simple enough, don't you think? Well, that Jeep kindly begged to differ. That is the only time this tool has failed me. And I have had it since Christmas, and I have used it a lot. So, then we tried tapping out the threads, and that didn't go too well either. Not sure why, but it didn't. So, me and Mr. Bobtail over here has decided, fuck Jeeps.
Yeah, pretty much. Not only did we tear up this vice grip adjustable wrench, we also stripped out the wrenches that we horseshoed.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that.
Yep. So, I think that if you live in a northern area where it snows in the middle of spring, you probably should not own a Jeep. And if you do,
make sure it's a garage baby.
You need to make sure it's a garage baby. You should also probably make sure you keep up on the maintenance on this thing and not abuse it.
It's a Jeep thing, man.
I think, considering that Chrysler Corporation makes these things, that they should be acclimated to snowy weather. Considering Chrysler Company is in Canada, I think they should be able to withstand snow, ice, water, salt, whatever. But
Or maybe they should put this thing under it called a, I don't know, chassis, not unibody, but a chassis.
so honestly, I think that Chrysler needs to step up their game for northern climates.
We'll take this for instance.
I mean, this is my truck. And check out this bed here. Rotted out. Now you would think for a company that has nothing but snow around it, they should have something that prevents rust from occurring. Well, either they're cheap or they just don't want to fool with it.
Well, they should do like they did with Hudson cars back in the day. Undercoating was not an option. Undercoating was mandatory. Whether you wanted undercoating or not, if you bought a Hudson, that's what you got, was undercoating. So, one thing I don't understand about any car company, Dodge, Chevrolet, Ford, even Nissan, hell, even Toyota, anything that has a pickup truck of any kind or even lives in northern climate, actually, we'll just better this up. Anything in the northern climate should be undercoated.
And I think he has a point there. I think Ford, Chevrolet, and GM products, they should have better rust resistance and better rust preventatives.
Well,
Chrysler's in Canada.
Well, hang on there, Mr. Bobtail.
I know, man.
Okay.
Because, Chevrolet and Ford, they're located in Michigan, right? Dearborn, Michigan, Detroit, Michigan.
Yeah.
They're all in northern territory, so it snows a lot. And they ain't got nothing better to put on their vehicles to prevent this rust shit.
So that proves my point. Okay. Now Ford, this blows my mind. Okay. For all you Ford lovers, hey, I'm a Ford lover too. Even though I own Chevrolets, but I like a Ford just as much as I like a Chevrolet. My problem is, okay, yeah, Ford has now went to the aluminum body. I got to give them props, but I got to down them too, because if, for instance, you hit a deer, and I seen this on Facebook, some guy hit a deer or something like that, and from what I understood, he was not going more than 25 miles an hour and ripped not just the doors, but ripped all this, the door jambs, the seals, just completely ripped this side open. So I guess that guy tried to take the two doors on the one side of the truck and make one big ass barn door on a pickup. So I love my American cars, even though the biggest part of them aren't American anymore. But if Michigan is still manufacturing and engineering our American-made vehicles, yeah, I understand that regulations don't allow thick metal like they did back in
1950s, 1960s.
Well, at least all the way up until the late 90s. Well, I shouldn't say the late 90s, but the late 80s, when American bodies had, metal in them. Okay. They don't rust out as quick as these because this is paper thin metal.
This is just sheet metal. You can see it deflecting.
Well, if I had an older truck to compare this to, okay, like right here, I'm pushing a dent in the door. in an old, okay, if this was, we'll say
1980s.
a 1980s, hell, we'll even go for 70s. Why not? I could punch it and I'd break my hand before that dent stuck. So I understand regulations don't allow thick metal anymore for whatever reason. Not sure why.
For economy purposes.
Well, yeah, but you got to think. Economy purposes don't do you any good if it's liable to kill you faster than the old cars would. Because you could hit a tree at 100 miles an hour, twist the car and everything else, and granted, you still had scratches, but you walked away from that shit. This, you hit a tree at, we'll say 50. It's life-threatening. Okay, so what I'm saying is, anything in northern climate that needs to be undercoated without option, just straight from the factory, undercoated, and then there you have it. Yeah, you don't have a 2010, even though this is an 02, but we'll just say a 2010 Ram or a 2010 F-150 or even a Silverado, as most rednecks call them, rotting out when it's not even 10 years old yet. If your vehicle is not 10 years old yet and it's rotting out, something is definitely wrong.
So, in hindsight, and I do want to get on to that topic of the aluminum body.
Okay.
As far as rust resistance goes,
Great.
You're right on it. You're great. As far as heat resistance goes, that's where I'm going to leave it.
I'll have something to add on to that when you're done.
So, even though mine's made out of a thin metal, this right here, this dent, came from the 2012 Chevrolet. If it was aluminum body, it would have done a lot more than that. So, in hindsight, get down to it, Jeeps do not have the proper rust preventatives. I cannot tell you how many Jeeps rust out faster than snot up here in northern climates, when they should have a lot better. And because of the rust, I do not like working on Jeeps. I have decided that I do not like working on fucking rusty ass Jeeps.
Oh, but if it was a Willys and we was restoring it, you'd be all for that shit.
It'd have less rust.
Well, that's true.
It would have less rust. And
Okay.
even if it was rusted out from front bumper to back, all you'd have to do is sand it off and go on your way.
Maybe replace a couple minor panels.
Yeah. Yeah. You got anything to add before we conclude this video?
All right. Now, a few years back when Ford and Chevrolet had the dump bed test, as I call it, okay, which was Chevrolet's high-strength steel body versus Ford's military-grade aluminum body, don't listen to that shit. It is a fucking joke. Because in the commercials, now granted, ignore the bed liner, but when they had cut, okay, if you look, but at the very tail end of the commercial, when they show the very inside of the Ford's bed, you can tell that there was whiz wheel cuts. Well, as many rocks and concrete blocks and what have you that I've dumped in the bed of a pickup truck, I have never seen a rock make a straight cut. I have never seen them make a cut. Rips? Yes. Cuts? No. Okay? And then for two, what dumbass in their right mind is going to have a Bobcat drop a load of bricks in the bed of their brand new truck?
Without bed liner.
Well, even with a bed liner.
With this bed liner, I wouldn't have a problem with it because it protects the bed.
Well, hang on, man. You got to think. You just bought this brand new truck. Okay? Would you want some idiot with a Bobcat anywhere near your truck?
No.
Point proven. That's where I was getting at on that. Okay, so The high
Not even a
strength.
skidder.
Now the Chevrolet's new high strength steel body. Here's where I beg another differ. It'd be in the same boat as any new truck. They'd rot out in 10 years' time. Then you turn around. Now, when Chevrolet had a high-strength steel body, was square body era and older. Because that's when trucks were trucks. Granted, they rode completely different than a new truck, but honestly, I think the old trucks ride better than the new ones. They sure as hell handle a lot better. I gotta say that, because in this one, the steering's slightly tight. Okay? Even if an old square body, 4-wheel drive, 3/4 ton, half ton, don't make no difference. A 4-wheel drive will just say, the steering is, even when it's fixed completely right, it feels so loose, like it's just effortless. And everybody says, oh, old trucks you gotta be built like a shit brick house to drive it. No. Now, the only thing that was hard on you was the old school spring clutches. I've had a couple of them try to put me through the fucking seat. And I only weigh 160 pounds soaking wet. All right.
On your feet.
Now, here's number 2 why I beg to differ on the aluminum body. A buddy of mine, real good buddy of mine, he'll be in Beave92 videos, possibly Bobtail videos eventually. But his grandpa had the first year of the aluminum body F-150, aka 2015. Crew cab with the grocery getter bed, as I call it. And had a 700-pound tractor that we had to put in the bed of the truck. All right.
Tore it all to pieces, didn't it?
Nope. And you can tell rim impacted first. Okay. Big Al, which was the guy that owned the truck. Here, okay, for instance, we'll show you. All right. Got the tire. We finally, 3 men finally umped it up into the bed of the truck. Keep in mind, no bed liner. Bed liner was like I like my women, hot and naked. All right. We got about here, and my ass is up against the cab, and we're trying to put it down gently. Well, Big Al, who owned that F-150, said, "Boys, just get your feet out from underneath of her and dropped her." Okay. And dropped it. Well, keep in mind, 700-pound tire and rim on the back of a Deutz tractor. I can't remember what size it was, but the back tire is about right here on me, and I'm 6 foot. All right. Now, granted, yes, it did scratch that bed, but when you have no bed liner, it's going to scratch the bed. Believe me, I know, because I don't believe in bed liners. Now, if we're talking about Rhino bed liner, different story. But key word, Rhino. Not Aaron's or what the hell ever that has that scratchy material bed liner. We're talking about Rhino that has a rubbery texture to it. Now, them other bed liners, I can't help but think they're just good for undercoating. That's it. So any and all Chevy lovers, and me as a Chevy lover saying this, you Chevy lovers with your high-strength steel body, take your comments and shove them up your ass.
And I think that will conclude this episode of Rage Racing. So remember to like, share, comment, subscribe. You can follow me on Facebook and Twitter. And stay tuned, keep watching. And remember, you never know what you're going to find on Bobtail videos.
Beave92 out.
Bobtail out.